Please introduce yourself to the microphone.
Hello, microphone. J. Michael Straczynski, a.k.a. Joe.
Awesome. Why are we all here today?
Who has a good question?
Come on.
We're here to celebrate Babylon 5's 30th anniversary with an animated movie. Okay. Security?
It's been a while since you were in the universe of Babylon 5. Was there anything specific you did to get back in their characters' heads and get their voices back in?
No, it wasn't hard at all because they never left. To this day, I'll be out at dinner or something and conversations happening, and I'll hear Londo's snarky comment in my head, and he'll come out. I'll give him credit for it because I didn't think of it. They never left. When you spend 5 years writing these characters, and I wrote, I think, 92 out of 110 of the scripts, they tend to get stuck in your head. The hard part is making them not talk.
Where does the story start? Is it a continuation of the series? Or just a whole?
It starts. The setting is between the next to last and last episodes of the original series. Captain Sheridan has become President Sheridan and is now on his way to Minbar to take over running the Alliance. And he's insecure, he's not sure he's the right guy for the job. And I begin the process of basically hitting him in the head with a stick for the next hour and a half. As everything that can go wrong does go wrong, and he finds himself being pulled into different timelines, different alternate realities, and trying to find his way home.
What made you want to go animated for this instead of live action?
I want to use the original cast, and unfortunately, about half of them are gone. And without those voices, those characters, I could not see a way to tell the story. So before I actually wrote a word of the script, I sent an email to all the cast saying, look, we have this opportunity, but it may mean working with an actor playing one of our fallen friends. And if anyone here is uncomfortable with that, if anyone here is not sure about that, just say so, we won't do it at all. So, but everyone said they wanted to do it because they wanted to make it sort of a testimonial to those actors, and to find a way using the animation and the voices to memorialize those performances and how they looked and how they acted, and so that they're still with us, and so that you can only do that in animation. You couldn't do that in live action. And I also want to be able to move through the timeline in ways that really you couldn't do with the actors in their current ages. So it just made sense to do it in animation, and I love animation. Also, the offer. I narrowed it down.
How was it when you knew Babylon 5 was going to be back on the screen? Obviously, there's been buzz, comic buzz, but to actually visualize, I know there's been reboot talk, and we're all waiting for it, hoping for it, but we have something now. What was it like for you as a creator to finally go, yes, we have it back on the screen where it belongs?
Yeah, it's very satisfying and the cast are all very exciting. They've gone through the same problem as well. It's been Lucy in the football so many times over the years with this thing. And even at the last minute, they were thinking, is this going to really happen? Is it going to come out? And will be any good? Now that when Bruce and I got together to do the commentary for the disc, he had not yet seen the finished movie at all. So when we sat down in the room with the microphones before they turned everything on, he leaned over and said, "Is it any good? How is it really?" I said, "Bruce, it's the best thing we've done since the original B5. It feels the most like the show." And as you watch the movie through the commentary, he would forget to talk. He was so caught up watching it. He's like, "You're right, it's really good."
Were you nudging him like,
Yeah, constantly, literally, yeah. Bruce, nobody wants to hear me talk. God knows. Oh, say something. He was like, have 4 words, go back to watching.
If I could go off topic for just a minute, could you talk about Patreon and how that's helped you basically stay active? And
I would drag that into this.
that's right.
Yeah.
I noticed in the cast list there's one character name that's really missing, and that's Beer. is there a reason why they'll be shown in the movie that we're about to see, or is there something beyond that?
No, I just could not find a place to put him in naturally. Right now we have really the first time all of the characters have been in the same movie, where you have Sinclair and Sheridan and Ivanova and Lockley, and it was I tried to look for ways to bring in Veer, and I got Lanier in, but I just could not figure out how to bring in Veer without taking him away from the story. So down the road, in the Bunny Rabbit version of the show, we will try and bring him in.
As you were writing and conceptualizing this film, was there or is there a plan for a sequel, maybe a trilogy, continuing the series in this medium?
Well, if the first movie does really well, I imagine that Warner's may have said they would be open to doing more of these. My understanding is that it has been selling really well, much beyond their expectations. So I think that once Warner figures out its internal elements in terms of the Zaslav of it all, I think they'll come back to us and they will want to do more.
The first domino to fall.
First body to fall, yeah.
Was there a conversation about animation style?
Yeah, we all kind of agreed that we wanted it to be a very realistic style. So it should feel like a lost episode of the show. We didn't want to go too cartoony, so it's not exactly specifically one for one of the original actors, but it's sort of like the essence of who they are. Yeah, so it's the idea of who they are. So there's slight changes here and there, but overall they're really recognizable.
What about Babylon 5 makes it stand the test of time? Since we hit its 30-year anniversary, what brings fans back to it?
Well, what's been interesting about this process is that, number one, we've added more fans over the years. There are B5 fans who are their teens and 20s right now. And the way I wrote the show, it rewards return viewing. Because there are things that we set up that pay off down the road that you don't even recognize as being setups until you come back and look at it again. So it rewards repeated viewing. There are fans who said they watched it 10, 20 times, they're still picking up on new stuff, that this is all micro stuff that I put in, So it's stood the test of time really well.
Are there any chicken and the egg kind of storylines where someone maybe on the internet goes, "Oh, I connect dot A to dot B," and you go, "Well, I didn't intend that, but darn it, they're right."
The fans are always right. Okay. Rule number one. And then you take credit for it. My God, you're right. I thought of that.
That's why he's the boss right there.
Absolutely.
Do you have any pie in the sky dreams for what you'd like to do? Should that succeed and let you do anything?
I just want to tell good stories. That's all I've ever wanted. I started writing when I was 17 years old and selling when I was 17. And all I wanted was to tell good stories. My tombstone should just say he told good stories. So it's not like pie in the sky necessarily in terms of a specific thing. Because for me, it's always more about the characters than anything else. When I worked on the Thor movie with Sir Kenneth and Kevin Feige, I said, look, Asgard, great. Big fight scenes, great. Special effects, great. End of the day, it's about two brothers competing for their father's affection. So it's not a pie in the sky idea, but it's the emotional arc of the characters. So from day one on B5, even though we had the big stuff, it was always about the characters. So if we do more of these, I want to dig in more on the characters and their backgrounds and how they relate to each other, what their dreams are, what they want to achieve in their lives. So yeah.
Babylon 5 has always been, from your own words, more about what unites us than what divides us. Yeah. How does this new movie figure in there? And how I see it says something about finding new purpose within the voyages that he's doing.
Yeah, my sense is that, particularly in the last 5 or 10 years, we have been marginalized and factionalized and tribalized within each of our lives. And most of my work is about either hope or finding unity. That we are better together than we are apart. That the common coin of our shared humanity will get us out of whatever we're into. So there is an underlying theme here that leads Sheridan to understand what brings us together and will bring him home. And that is probably the key element of the entire story.